Alright, so this is going to be part one to what if Deku was a hunter guardian. So with that being said, I gotta say a few things. So when I did the poll for this, I really was expecting more of a split kind of, vote. But the majority of people voted for Hunter, which is kind of surprising to me. I thought the community really was split between the three different classes, but I guess I was wrong. Like 71% of the vote was Hunter. So yeah. So this story is gonna be a lot different than my other ones, just because the way that it involves how guardians are made and things like that. So if you haven't played Destiny, I'll give you a quick rundown to the idea of the kind of general plot. Not really spoiling too much, just in case. I don't think anyone's gonna play the original Destiny, especially now since Destiny 2 is like free to play, and they're probably gonna make a Destiny 2 or Destiny 3 probably within a year or two. So yeah. So Destiny, let's go to the beginning and go with the main kind of focus, and that's going to be the Traveler. The Traveler is this kind of giant planet like planet size, probably large moon to small planet size kind of orb that floats around through space. And when it gets to civilizations, it actually helps them prosper, and they go into their golden age, which means that it's their prime of their species. They're the most technological, advanced during any other time period. There's a lot of prosperity. People are living longer, things like that. And this is what happened with the Traveler. Humans met with the Traveler on Mars, and after that, they got into the Golden Age. But something happens. When the Traveler goes to different planets, there's this other force that follows it, and that is the darkness. We don't know much about it, but it's the opposite, or something that goes after the Traveler. And because of this, the prosperity that humans were having collapses, and that's what it's called. It's called the collapse. This point in time that happens. After that, the enemies of the Traveler, enemies of darkness, come and basically nearly wipe out humanity. The Traveler gets crippled, and the way that it fights back is it creates these ghosts who look out and revive people to become guardians. These guardians are imbued with the Traveler's light, and they're able to first off live, they do not age, they cannot die unless their ghost is killed, and they get imbued with light so they could do different powers, and those powers are the subclasses, and each guardian is a main class, that being Warlock, Hunter, Titan. And for Hunter, the first super that you get is, or subclass or super, is Blade Dancer. So that's what we're going to go with. And yeah, so that was really just to be a quick recap. I know I might have gotten a few things wrong here or there, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't played Destiny since Forsaken came out, because that's around the time I stopped. So if I get anything wrong, you guys can tell me. And yeah, so let's get into our story. So Deku in this one, it's very similar to how he is in canon, but when he gets the news that he cannot be a hero, he actually he kind of accepts it. And what he does instead is he trains to be a police officer. So he does do some basic kind of stuff like that. He trains and he researches how to become one, and that's really what his goal is, because he accepted the fact that he can't be a hero without a quirk. So that's what he does. And throughout middle school and things like that, he is not really bullied, because he doesn't have this idea that people think is laughable, and that is the idea of being a hero without a quirk. So that's the real reason why he isn't really bullied, but he also isn't really popular either. People are kind of neutral on him, so that's really what happens. So because of this this want to be a police officer, I would think that he would improve his accuracy generally, and specifically with guns, because Destiny's all about weapons. So that's what he would do. He would get really good with handheld firearms and things like that, and he would improve his accuracy as well as his body a bit, just basically toning himself up and other things like that. So we would get to the last days of, well, the middle school, and Deku doesn't actually go for UA. He actually goes to a police academy to try to, or he wants to go to a police academy to, become a police officer. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'm not sure how it works in Japan. If I get anything wrong, please forgive me. Correct me in the comments if I do. So after that, Bakugo doesn't really talk to him. I don't think they would really be friends in this. I think in this one they would actually drift apart at an early age and would no longer talk to each other. They would still know about each other, but it'd be kind of awkward, so to speak. And after this, when Deku goes home because it's the last day of middle school, he still gets attacked by the villain, or the sludge villain. And the sludge villain still does the same thing as he does in canon, and that is try to go into Deku's body. And what happens is that he actually succeeds to a certain point. Deku actually dies at this point. He dies of suffocation, and before all this is happening, there have been news reports of this giant planet-sized kind of object in space just floating around, coming towards Earth and stopping at Mars and then going at Earth. They don't know what it is, and people are kind of scared of it. And this is the Traveler. And right when this is happening, the Traveler would have been near Earth. And what happens is that Deku is actually the first Guardian. He is the first one to actually receive a ghost. And as this is happening, a light would be imbued into Deku, and this is what really saves him. Because he's able to be imbued with light, he's actually able to use his super, and that is the arc, or the blade dancer, And so I'm going to explain a few terminologies. So arc means things like lightning and electricity. Solar means, fire and things like that. Void is basically what it sounds like. It's the void. It's nothingness, but it's also light. So yeah, he would have been able to electrocute the sludge villain, but he wouldn't really be able to cut him too well. And this is where Deku actually escapes from the sludge villain. At the same time as this happening, governments actually decide to have first contact with the Traveler, and this is where they find out that it's not a threat, and this actually sparks the golden age for humanity. So Deku, after defeating the sludge villain, sees that there's something following him, and it's his ghost, and he asks, why are you here? What just happened? And his ghost explains that he is now a guardian. After dying, the Traveler decided to revive him and to become a warrior of light. He is a hunter, and his first subclass was a blade dancer. So Deku at this point is very taken back with what he said. What do you mean I'm a guardian? What is it? What is this? What are you talking about? What, the Traveler, the light? This is just nonsense. You're just a robot. Why? you're saying I died? What? And the ghost basically tells him, like, yes, the orb that you humans have been talking about, that is the Traveler. It goes around planets helping civilizations. And since it decided to have you be the first guardian, as it could tell how much you wanted to help people, despite what I've learned from your species to be someone without powers. And Deku, he finally gets it, and he gets very excited, and he tells the ghost, does this mean I could be a hero? And the ghost says, of course it can. And so this is when Deku, after all of his life accepting that he couldn't be a hero, he's just overjoyed. He doesn't know what to do, really, but he decides that maybe being a hero might be the best chance, because since he has a quirk, it would be better for him to be a hero than a police officer, and does so. And this is where he actually applies to go to UA. So he has those 10 months of training, and this is where the ghost actually helps him basically train his subclass to the point where he finishes it, and he actually moves on to the gunslinger, or the golden gun. So yeah, this is where he's able to actually do a few powers, and I'll explain some of the basic stuff that comes with each subclass. And yeah, so with a subclass, you come with a specific melee and a specific grenade. So these grenades are not physical, they're made out of light and thus can be regenerated, as well as the melee is imbued with light, so does the special properties. So I'm not sure the exact build for Deku. Like I said before, I haven't played in a bit, but I do know a bunch of lore. So yeah, he would have an arc grenade, and then a standard melee for a blade dancer. I forgot the exact term for it, but it would basically make him be able to turn invisible whenever he meleeed something, as well as give him the ability to go invisible whenever he crouched for a certain period of time. And Blade Dancer, with his actual super, he would be able to create a kind of AoE attack by spinning around, and electricity would come. With the Gunslinger, he would have 3 shots in his golden gun, right? His golden gun, as well as have the ability to penetrate people, as well as being able to have a grenade and a melee. But the melee would be different. It would actually be a throwing knife and such. It would be a physical object, as well as I believe it's something made out of a light, so he would be able to get that back really quickly, as well as the biggest feature that comes with the Hunter class, and that is the double jump, now becoming a triple jump with the Gunslinger. And I would say that Deku would actually get the blink ability for Blade Dancer. So the blink ability actually gives him the ability to teleport short distances in an instant, just how you see in the game. Triple jump is what it sounds like. It's 2 more extra jumps to his normal jump. So yeah, because he's a hunter, he also has the fastest kind of speed out of any other class. Titans have the most defense, as Warlocks have the best recovery. That's also a big thing, the recovery that Guardians get because of the light. So that means if Deku is gravely injured, he can regenerate it, and if Deku dies, his ghost can regenerate him. So Deku is basically immortal. So there's also the fact that Guardians don't age, but we have no evidence of Guardians being younger than a mature adult. So we could say that Deku in this will age until the age of maturity, and he will basically be in the prime of his life for however long he lives. So yeah, after this, Deku does the training, like I said, does all those things, unlocks those abilities, and this is where he actually goes for the first day of UA. At this point, the Traveler has been talking to humans for, like I said, the 10 months, and prosperity has gone over every country with advancements going super high and the technology advancing at a high rate. This is also the point in where world peace is discovered, or not really discovered, but happens because of the Traveler. Every human is united under one kind of planet Earth. I know I don't want to sound like a one world. It's a one world government, but it isn't like what you would think, right? It's not like the Illuminati kind of stuff, if you know what I mean. But yeah, because of this, humans in general become nicer to each other, and the kind of discrimination that happens with quirk users and quirkless people does still happen to a certain extent, but is way lessened because people find out that they're not alone in the universe. Because of this, people in general become closer to each other, because if there's an alien out there, why would you fight with your own people when there's someone else that's a lot different? At least people here are human while they're not, even though the Traveler has been nothing but nice to them. So at this point, Deku is the only Guardian, because right now the Traveler is testing out the Guardian kind of because this is like the first time he's doing it. He's testing it out on Deku. So at those 10 months, he would apply for UA, and he would go. This would be the day of the entry exams. So Deku would do normal on his written portion, and this is where he would go to the actual fighting part. So Deku, he would have been able to go to different parts of the solar system. Or actually no, I don't think so. Not at this point yet. Even though the Traveler, actually it's kind of hard to tell, because we know the Traveler is some sort of machine in general, as we've seen it in the lore, as well as being able to create the ghost. I think in this one they would be able to create some sort of vehicle for Deku, and with this he'd be able to go to different planets, specifically Mars and the Earth's moon. And this is where the point where the Hive have come. So this is a kind of a small a squad of Hive actually come try to check out how Earth is doing. So in this kind of time, Deku actually kills a lot of Hive, but not really Cabal. Cabal haven't come yet. And this is also part of his 10 months of training. So after doing that, he returns to Earth pretty easily. And so you might be saying like, well, the moon has no oxygen, right? But the gear that Guardians give or have gives them air, and I'm pretty sure the ghost that can focus and do that kind of stuff, kind of block out anything harmful like that. That's why they're able to go to planets that have no atmosphere and things like that. But other planets have been terraformed in the Destiny lore. The reason why I'm saying this part is because when Deku does his fighting part of the exam, he actually comes in with full kind of hunter armor, the cloak, the chestplate, the pants, the kind of blades on the side, and the gauntlets. And I don't think at this point he would use weapons just yet, just because you're supposed to use your quirk. So what Deku does is when he gets to when the timer actually goes starts, he actually runs faster than anyone there because of his hunter kind of abilities. So there's also another thing because he's a hunter and has this kind of power from the guardians, or that he is a guardian and he gets it from the traveler, he'd be a lot confident in himself, especially with his ghost being there by his side, so he doesn't trip and doesn't meet Uraraka just yet. So as he's going through, he throws a grenade, it explodes and kills a robot. He then melees, goes invisible. Then this melee would have killed the robot or destroyed it. Then he would use his blade dancer, cutting even more and going at an extremely fast pace, basically destroying every robot with one slash and being able to get to the other one in a few seconds, destroying many robots. At this point, he's top at the leaderboard, and this is where Uraraka gets is about to get hurt by the 0-pointer. Everyone's running away and Deku doesn't know what's happening, so he decides to go in the direction where everyone's running, as well as the direction where the scream's coming from. He sees Uraraka underneath some rubble, and then he sees the 0-pointer, and he decides that this would be the best point to use his gunslinger, because he really, or I guess he has used it because he would have fought the Hive, but he thought he would be the best place to use it since it has the longest range out of any of his abilities so far. And with this, he actually shoots the first off, he switches to his gunslinger on the fly, because since it isn't a game, he doesn't have to open the menu and switch. So he switches to his gunslinger, and as he switches, he turns golden, just how the arc would have turned in blue. He turns basically golden with flames, and people are just looking at this like, just a second ago this guy was full of electricity and now he's on fire, what's happening? And then a golden gun appears in his hand, literally, and that's actually the name of it, and he points it at the 0-pointer, and he shoots 3 times, each shot penetrating the head and then exploding it, because that's one of the abilities that the gunslinger tree has. So after that, he removes the rubble from Uraraka, and she actually gets up and thanks him. This is where Recovery Girl would come to heal up Uraraka, and Deku would walk off, not really saying his name just yet. When Deku gets home, he asks the ghost how much time he has. And he's asking this because he wants to know how long until the Hive actually full on invade. And the ghost tells him that at the minimum, maybe 100 years or 2, because this is the point where the Hive are actually collecting themselves on the moon for an attack. And he asks the ghost, is there going to be any other guardians? And he says he doesn't know. That's up to the traveler. He doesn't speak for him. He doesn't really know much about him. He just knows that he was created by him, and he was out here to seek for Deku. And Deku isn't really, reassured by this, and he doesn't really know what to do. So he just decides that he has to get stronger, so that when the Hive eventually attack, this is where he would actually be able to fight back. So Deku would get his he would get his letter from All Might saying that he got in. You might be asking, like, well, did All Might ever meet Deku at the park, or not really the park, under the bridge, right? And I would say no. Deku would have been able to basically kill the not really kill. No, actually, I'm not sure if he would actually kill the slime or not, but he would be able to defeat him fast enough to the point where Deku would be able to leave pretty fast, especially with the new hunter boost that he gets. So yeah, with that being done, Deku is actually really excited to be able to go to UA, just because it's been a dream it's been like an impossible dream for him to go. So yeah, this is gonna be the end of the video. If you want more, please give it a like, and yeah, if you like my videos, please subscribe, and if you made it to the end of the video, comment down CS and I'll like your comment. So yeah, if you have any ideas for different subclasses for Deku, just tell me down below, especially with like the types of builds and things like that. So with that being said, this is gonna be the video. So yeah.